Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning. It is a kind of rainy, wet, sort of here in New York City. Thursday? Are we in Thursday? Yeah. I'm so glad that you all could join us. I'm doing my little, is it like a prebiotic? You guys try these little things? Poppy, call us. We'll like the sponsorship, right? So we have to discuss what happened overnight. We have to discuss a lot of things, right? But we're going to have some breaking news. And trust me, I have a lot of news for you as it relates to the Vice President's interview on MSNBC last night. We're going to talk about we actually have. We've heard from Diddy. We have heard from Diddy. We have heard from Diddy. What he's doing inside of his jail cell, and also clarification on those 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Not denying it. But anyways, we're going to begin with the breaking news. Okay, everyone, so settle in and we're going to talk and we're just going to, roll this all out. Talk about Diddy, says Hex. We're going to do that. Okay, so here's the breaking news. The first time a New York City mayor has been indicted. New York City Mayor Eric Adams indicted by a grand jury on federal criminal charges, okay? At the time, we don't know the nature of the charges. The moment we receive an update, my producers are going to let me know, okay? So, however, this is video of them raiding Gracie Mansion early this morning, about 6 a.m., federal investigators showing up at the mansion. Okay? So that was really early on. Again, federal investigators showing up at Gracie Mansion early this morning. It is believed to be about 6 a.m. Going inside, they were showing up for a raid. Showing up for a raid at Gracie Mansion. Okay, and then they federal investigators again a little bit later on in the day, or this morning, actually showing up at there it is, they're outside. The media, as you can imagine, it is a mob here in New York City. Why am I talking about this? Eric Adams was beloved. I don't know if you guys know, he was on his way to becoming America's mayor. Everyone was excited about where he stood on crime. He is a former police commissioner, a police captain. However, we don't know what's in the indictment because it's sealed. It's going to be, as we said, they're going to open it and then we'll know. And there may be a press conference, and producers look, because I think City Hall will carry a press conference and we'll be able to take that for you. It has been well known that federal investigators have focused on this since 2021. On whether Mayor Adams and his political campaign, whether they conspired with the Turkish government to receive illegal foreign donations, and whether Mayor Eric Adams pressured fire department officials to sign off on the opening of a Manhattan high-rise consulate building for the Turkish government despite safety concerns, okay? And as I said, about 6 a.m. on Thursday morning, this morning, nearly a dozen men and women dressed in business attire, they arrived in SUVs outside the entrance of Gracie Mansion, the mayor's official residence on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, where I am. At least one vehicle had a federal law enforcement parking placard on it, okay? They were carrying briefcases, they were carrying backpacks, all of that. Then they went through their search of Gracie Mansion, okay? Reportedly spending at least 2 hours inside of the mansion. We'll learn soon what's going on with this really unfolding drama. But in the meantime, I want to show you some things to explain what is happening as it relates to the mayor this morning. Here is a report, I believe it is from the Today Show, explaining the broad parameters of this indictment. Here it is.
Indictment marks a staggering turn for the former police captain turned politician. For months, his administration has been operating under a cloud of investigations, subpoenas, and scrutiny that led to multiple high-level resignations, including the city's police commissioner and school's chancellor, amid multiple federal probes. The FBI searched the Brooklyn home of Adams' top fundraiser last November, the first sign federal authorities were looking into connections between the Adams campaign and Turkey's government. At the time, multiple sources told WNBC that Turkish officials were seeking help in expediting the approval of a new diplomatic building, despite safety concerns. Days later, FBI agents stopped Adams, leaving an event in Manhattan, seizing his cell phones and iPad. Still, the mayor dug in, maintaining he did nothing wrong and had no knowledge of any improper fundraising, saying just this week,
I'm stepping up, not stepping down.
But some high-profile New York Democrats calling on Adams to resign, even before the indictment news broke.
And I think for the best of the city, it would be best for Mayor Adams to stay.
Now, the U.S. Attorney's Office declined to comment about any indictment at all, and attorneys for Mayor Adams did not respond to multiple requests for comment, guys.
Okay, so here we go.
Yes.
You under indictment. We don't know the charges yet, but what does that mean? I mean, he can continue to serve if he wants to?
There is nothing that says he automatically has to step down. He has shown no signs that he wants to step down. If he changes his mind, then the public advocate for the city is next in line of succession, and then there would be a special election in a couple months. However, there's another path here. The Governor Hochul, could actually force him out. It hasn't been used in modern history. She says she's monitoring the situation this morning, and it's too early to comment, guys.
She hasn't said whether she would or wouldn't.
She has not
and
weighed
if
in
she
on
did that, then there would be a special election?
Yes.
Interesting. All right, Laura, thank you.
Thank you,
Laura.
Interesting. My former colleague Laura Jarrett over on the Today Show on the MSNBC. Do you know who Laura Jarrett is, by the way? Laura Jarrett is Valerie Jarrett's daughter, the former advisor to President Barack Obama. Anyway, we worked together for years at CNN. But anyway, as I said, this is the first time a sitting New York City mayor has been indicted. As you heard from Laura's report there, that he has no signs of stepping down. As a matter of fact, he's claiming his innocence. He has all along. Here it is, out straight from his mouth.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false, based on lies. But they would not be surprising. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target. And a target I became. For months, leaks and rumors have been aimed at me in an attempt to undermine my credibility and paint me as guilty. Just this past week, they searched the home of our new police commissioner, looking for documents from 20 years ago, just 1 week after he joined my administration. Enough. I will fight these injustices with every ounce of my strength and my spirit.
Okay, so there you have it. You heard it straight from him. He's going to fight it. He said it's lies. And look, we don't know, innocent until proven guilty, as we always say. David Hutton says in the chat, says guilty. He's a Democrat, says Frank Camacho. Well, yeah, it's New York City. He's a Democrat. New York City's had Republican mayors, although it's been probably since Rudy Giuliani, because Bloomberg was an independent. De Blasio, Democrat. Yeah, OMG, Don, New York saga every day. Yes, that's right, Kimmy Klaus, New York saga. But here's the thing. As I keep saying, it's the first one, right? He's the first New York City mayor. He was beloved. People loved him. Remember, he was the mayor. He would be hanging out Zero Bond, which is a private club here. He'd be there till the wee hours. Remember, we were there having dinner, and he saw us, came over and sat at our table and talked. And oh my gosh, the guy was a star, a celebrity. Everyone wanted to come over, have his picture or whatever. Okay. C Fresh 1000 says, Bill, Cuomo, and Eric, anyone goes against the Trump gets blackball. Here's the interesting thing, since you mentioned that. They said that it is the city, I forget what he said, the city, what did Laura say, planner or whatever, will get to be that she could appoint it, Governor Kathy Hochul, okay? The public advocate could become the mayor. She could become and then she gets to do it. But the person I believe who would run for mayor, surprising, who do you think that could be? Who has the best chance of becoming mayor of New York City if Eric Adams is toast? Anybody want to raise their hand and tell me? Anybody? Okay, I'll let you guys think about it in the chat, and then I'll tell you who I believe the next mayor of New York City is going to be if Eric Adams goes down. If he is convicted, right, and sentenced and all of those things. Think about it, think about it, think about it. Okay, so let's talk about this. You know when we talked about Diddy and we said, you can go back in the prompter to where you were. You know when we talk about Diddy and we say, when the feds get their hands into you, or their hooks into you, it's trouble, trouble, trouble. Thank you, Sheena C, for supporting independent media. You know when they say when the feds get their hooks into you, right? Southern District of New York or anything, the feds. This one is Merrick Garland. It's trouble. So we're going to learn soon what happens next in this ongoing drama. In the meantime, I just want to tell you it's worth pausing to appreciate the larger pattern that is unfolding in these recent months. The Justice Department, under the leadership of Attorney General Merrick Garland, has, think about this, successfully, Dana Carey, you're right, I'll get back to that, successfully prosecuted an incumbent Democratic senator, that's New Jersey's Bob Menendez, during his reelection bid, successfully prosecuted President Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, while President Joe Biden is seeking reelection, criminally indicted an incumbent Democratic congressman, Texas Cuellar, right, during his reelection bid, raided the home of an incumbent Democratic mayor, Oakland's Shing Tao, ahead of her recall election, launched an investigation targeting an incumbent Democratic congresswoman, Missouri's Cori Bush, during her reelection bid, taken steps to criminally indict the incumbent Democratic mayor of the nation's largest city ahead of his reelection bid. And did I mention that Biden's Justice Department dropped its investigation into Republican Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida rather than file charges? Because that happened too, right? A natural political observer might see this and be tempted to conclude that Biden's Justice Department is unfairly targeting Democrats. And yet, one of the animating conspiracy theories in GOP politics is that Democrats have weaponized federal law enforcement to punish GOP figures and shield Democrats from accountability. That's utter bullshit. That is utter BS. The conspiracy theories. The Republicans always feel put upon, especially the MAGA folks, or if they're being targeted when the actual evidence shows that that is not true. You are right. In the chat, some of us said Maya Wiley, Pamela Lee. Nope, not Maya Wiley. It is who I said earlier. It is right. The former governor of New York City has the best chance of becoming the mayor of New York City, and that is former Governor Andrew Cuomo. Former Governor Andrew Cuomo. People still love Andrew Cuomo. People, the Republicans have hit him and whatever for what happened during COVID. Democrats believe that he did a good job under the circumstances, that he did a good job under the circumstances, and they liked him. They liked the press conferences every day. They liked his bravado. Charles Frazier, you are right. Andrew Cuomo. Kira Clark says, no way. Andy Cuomo? Yes. Mark my words. If things unfold the way they're unfolding, if Eric Adams does indeed go down, look for Andrew Cuomo to throw his hat into the ring, and beloved here still will become the next mayor if that indeed happens. Okay? So we shall see. Okay, there was a big interview. Let's talk about the vice president. Did you guys watch the interview in the chats? Did you guys watch? You are panicking, Don, LOL. No, why would I be panicking, Shane Lindy? I'm not panicking. It's the truth. Cheryl Hill says, I am for Cuomo. I liked him. See, I'm telling you, Aretha Barnes says in the chat, I liked him. So there you go. Why would he demote himself to mayor? I don't see that as a demotion. He likes public service. He's a public servant. Being governor of the state of New York is a big deal, yes, but being mayor of New York City is a big deal as well. And don't forget, Andrew Cuomo is still Andrew Cuomo, whether he's a governor or the mayor. It's still an iconic, beloved family and legacy here in New York City, and in New York State. Regardless of all the controversy or whatever, they're still Cuomos. It's like Kennedy are still Kennedys, Cuomos are still Cuomos, and on and on and on. So there you go. Okay, so did you guys watch the big interview? Stephanie Ruhle's interview. She spoke with the vice president running for president, Kamala Harris, following the Democratic presidential nominee's speech at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, where she laid out an economic vision for her administration if elected. If there was an overarching theme to the interview, it was the disconnect between the two parties' records on the economy, the public's perception of those records, and the irony that some middle-class people, including some union members, believe that former President Donald Trump has a greater understanding of their struggles than the vice president. Do you believe that? Okay, so there's lots to talk about here. Remember we discussed, excuse me, ooh, sorry y'all. Remember we discussed, it must be my poppy soda. Remember we discussed Donald Trump saying he's going to be the protector of women, and women, across the country are like, wait, what? Okay, he's going to be the protector of women. She was asked about that, the vice president, by Stephanie Ruhle. Here it is.
Of time, but then I just want to ask you a question from my gut.
Okay.
Because today we're talking about we're talking about the economy.
Yeah.
And people don't think often about reproductive rights being an economic issue, but it is. A woman's ability to plan her future, her education, her life. Today, and in the last few days, Donald Trump keeps talking about it and how in overturning Roe v. Wade, he helped women. He protected women. He says they're miserable today, they're poorer today, they're more vulnerable today. He said he will be the protector of women if elected. Can you respond to that?
So Donald Trump is also the person who said women should be punished for exercising a decision that they rightly should be able to make about their own body and their future. So I think we would all agree that as a result of that perspective that he has about women, he also then chose 3 members of the United States Supreme Court who did as he intended, undid the protections of Roe v. Wade, and now, in state after state, you see laws being passed that do punish women. Laws that, I mean, most recently, a heartbreaking story resulted in a young woman dying, a mother of a 6-year-old. Heart-wrenching stories. And that's for the listener, much less their family. So, look, I think the thing about Donald Trump is that, I don't think the women of America need him to say he's going to protect them. The women of America need him to trust them.
What do you think?
Can we
the
trust
women?
you?
Yes.
Yeah. Should they trust you? She says yes. The women of America, it's not that, the evidence shows, you've heard us, you know his language. You know his language. You know what he was found guilty of, liable of. You guys all know that. The protector of women, is the vice president right? We don't need him. Women don't need him to protect them. They can protect themselves, and if they are given the rights as everyone else, they need what? To be able to trust him. Do you trust him? Do you trust him? Also, there's a poll of if Eric Adams goes down, who will be the next mayor of New York? Richie Torres, Maya Wiley, Andrew Cuomo, someone we have never heard of. Okay. So do you agree with that? Do you agree with that? I have a challenge to you. I'm going to send you a text, by the way, in the chat, and I'll tell you what my challenge is. Also, this whole idea, remember the Trump folks were hitting the vice president, doubting that, oh my gosh, she never worked at McDonald's. She was a wealthy kid or whatever, well-off kid. There's no way she ever worked at McDonald's. It wasn't on her resume. Stephanie Ruhle asked her about that.
Opponent almost every day seems to be talking about this. So I just want to ask you yes or no. At any point in your life, have you served 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, working out at McDonald's? Yes or no? That's it.
I have.
Okay. Now the other job. But
it was not a small job. Like, I did the fries. I mean, yes.
Okay, for a small
I did.
period of time. But then let me ask about a big job.
But to your point, if you don't mind, before you get to the big job, there's a part of the reason I even talk about having worked at McDonald's is because there are people who work at McDonald's in our country who are trying to raise a family. I worked there as a student. I was a kid who worked there trying to raise families and pay rent on that. And I think part of the difference between me and my opponent includes our perspective on the needs of the American people and what our responsibility then is to meet those needs.
So look, 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. You young people don't know about that. I was thinking of another one. Hold the pickles, hold the lettuce, special orders, don't upset us. All we ask is that you let us serve it your way. That was Burger King. But McDonald's, 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese. You guys still eat at McDonald's? But also, I worked at McDonald's. And that's kind of where they start everybody. I started on the fries. I started on the fries because they're easy, you know, cheaper part than the meat or whatever. It's potatoes. So I started on the fries. You have to wear the little hat. Do they wear the hats now? There's like a little paper hat that you had to wear. And the McDonald's uniform. I remember my blue McDonald's uniform. And then I went to the burger thing. That was hard. I hated that. And then I went to the cash thing, as cash register. And that's how I learned how to count money. Anyways, count money backwards, right, to give change. Anyways, so, and then the drive-thru. The drive-thru was always fun. I loved that because then you got to talk to people. Okay, Don, challenge accepted, Winky Campbell. So the challenge is in the comments I sent a link in the comments, text 10 people, text the link, share the link, and also share the live. So that is the link to our channel, and then just tell people to subscribe, okay? All right, and then put the live link in the chat too so people can send it to people, text people with the live link and send it to them, okay? All right, so I liked the way she handled that because Stephanie wanted to move on. Stephanie Ruhle wanted to move on and talk about, you know, big job, like a bigger job. And I love the way that the vice president said, hang on, this is important. And it was really important. It was a very good point. And it was kind of a pivot point, kind of, excuse me. But she is owning the interview and the topic. Hey, let me tell you, I worked there as a kid. Same for me. I worked there as a kid because I wanted to buy this 1972 VW red Beetle that was $1,500. And my parents said, I was driving my parents' car, and they were like, we have cars, and you don't want to drive it because you're embarrassed. I was embarrassed to drive. Like, we had a 1976 Cadillac Eldorado, and I just thought it was huge and embarrassing. And so I wanted my own car. And so they said, if you want your own car, you're going to have to buy it. And this person from my school, his older sister was selling a 1972 VW Beetle, and I wanted to buy it. And they said, if you want to buy it, you got to earn it. So I went to work at McDonald's to buy my car. I was 15, and I wasn't supposed to be working there. I was supposed to be 16. Anyway, I worked there long enough to be able to buy the car, and then they found out I was too young, and they fired me. All right, so that's what happened. Okay, so I like the way she handled that because she said, I was young as a kid, kind of playing around, right? But there are people who are working at McDonald's on those salaries, and they're trying to make ends meet. They're paying rent, they're buying families food, they're paying, you know, money for their kids, diapers, all kinds of things, right? And so that was I thought she handled that very well. By the way, I'm going to tell you about this interview and the embarrassed to drive a Cadillac. Look, it was 1980 or 81, and the Cadillac was a 76. It was enormous. Okay, so I like that she did that because she really brought it home. But I'm going to tell you about the response to this, the reviews for this interview. You might be surprised. Okay, so then they talked about the economy, what she plans to do, and it always kind of reverted back to, you know, what Trump has not done, and here it is.
4 years, there have been tremendous economic wins, and you've just laid out a big plan. But still, polling shows that most likely voters still think Donald Trump is better to handle the economy. Why do you think that is?
Well, here's what I know in terms of the facts. Donald Trump left us with the worst economy since the Great Depression when you look at, for example, the employment numbers.
It was during COVID, and employment was so high because we shut down the government, we shut down the country.
Even before the pandemic, he lost manufacturing jobs by most people's estimates, at least 200,000. He lost manufacturing plants. Ask the auto workers how he lost auto plants. We have grown over 20 new auto plants. He has an agenda. Let's just deal with it right now going forward, not to mention what happened in the past. He has an agenda that would include making it more difficult for workers to earn overtime, an agenda that would include cutting off access to small business loans for small businesses, an agenda that includes tariffs to the point that the average working person will spend 20% more on everyday necessities. and an estimated $4,000 more a year on those everyday necessities, to the point that top economists in our country, from Nobel laureates to people at Moody's and Goldman Sachs, have compared my plan with his and said my plan would grow the economy, his would shrink the economy. Some of them have actually assessed that his plan would increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. So the facts remain that Donald Trump has a history of taking care of very rich people. And I'm not mad at anybody for being rich, but they should pay their fair share. But tax cuts for the billionaires and the top corporations in our country, and then not really paying much attention to middle-class families. My perspective on the economy is when you grow the middle class, America's economy is stronger. And there's empirical evidence to prove my point correct.
Then let me ask.
Okay, so she answered. What did you think of that answer? What did you think of that answer? Was it enough? Remember, the criticism has been that she is not answering questions. She's not giving specific plans. She's not doing enough interviews. What do you think of that? What did you guys think of that? I want to know, right? Because I'm going to tell you what the reviews are on this. And some of you are going to go, I don't know. Okay, she did goad him. Now, I'm going to play this next clip, and I wonder if you guys are going to pick up on the shade. It's subtle. Some people probably went over some people's heads. It did not go over Donald Trump's head. Trust me. Okay? So she was asked about, I'll just say, play this and see if you see the shade here from Kamala Harris.
Because there's this idea, we want something more from her. What is it?
Well, here's the thing, that back to your point about previous election cycles, Donald Trump made a whole lot of promises that he did not meet, and one would argue broke. Look at Lordstown. He said he was going to...
Don't sell your homes.
Yeah, don't sell your homes. And what happened? It shut down. Outsourcing under Donald Trump. His policies that are about putting, tens to hundreds of % tariffs.
John Deere.
Yes. Yes. So part of the challenge, and I don't disagree that it's a challenge, got to earn the vote of everybody, is reminding people of fact. Regardless of what somebody says in a small rally somewhere. And I think that's really important. And that's part of what I'm doing in this campaign, is to remind people, just like here in Pittsburgh, of the reality of who has stood with union labor, who stands for American manufacturing, who stands for American jobs.
Can I...
So, did you get that? Did anybody get the shade there? You guys missed it, didn't you? She said ideas coming from small gatherings or small rallies. Rally size. You got it, Brittany KO1. Small rally, the Truth Realty LLC. By the way, the Truth Realty LLC, thank you for supporting independent media. I'm sorry, Power Dynamics for Life. Thank you for supporting independent media. But you guys, you got it. Small rally. That's why he won't debate her, because that will trigger him. He can't deal with it. Okay? So this is what I want to tell you. And I believe, and I'm going to tell you what I think after I just read some of this, okay? This is from the New York Times. The New York Times has 3 takeaways from Kamala Harris's interview on MSNBC. And it says, as Vice President Kamala Harris parses out the details of her agenda, she has favored broad strokes over detailed policy papers. Only recently has she begun sitting for interviews which have elicited few details about what her presidential administration might look like. Little about that careful approach changed during a 25-minute interview with Stephanie Ruhle of MSNBC that was broadcast on Wednesday night. It was Ms. Harris's first one-on-one interview on cable television since becoming the Democratic nominee. So, it goes on to say, basically, Harris had roundabout answers to open-ended questions. That she had roundabout answers to open-ended questions. She avoided a looming scenario. What if Democrats lose the Senate? A hard-hitting Harris interview is still yet to come. They criticized Harris and the interviewer. Are you surprised? As someone said, It will never be enough, Don. It's not enough. They're still saying that this is not an actual hard-hitting interview, and she still needs to sit down and do an interview. Now, there was something in here that I thought was also really, really, that I agreed with in this thing. And it was, well, I'll just paraphrase. What I agreed with was, this is no different than Donald Trump sitting down with an interview for Fox News, which is all he does now. He goes to friendly territory. Now, they don't seem to want to criticize that Donald Trump is always going to friendly media sources, to either Fox News or Newsmax or some conservative podcast or whatever. The New York Times, I believe, is gunning for a Donald Trump presidency. That's what I believe. So for all of those people who are saying the New York Times is so liberal and they're pushing for the Democrats to win, that was not a favorable review of that interview, nor of Kamala Harris. And they've actually, the vice president, they've actually been really tough on her. Now, there are people within the business who know how the dynamics of the business. I'm just saying this, right? Allegedly, this is what they're saying, is that the New York Times, it looks like gunning for a Donald Trump presidency because it helps them. People read it, they become either angered or whatever. That's what they say. So I don't know. I don't know about that. Just like the cable news organizations, they say, are gunning, allegedly, and even the broadcast, allegedly, this is what they say, for a Donald Trump presidency because it's better for the ratings. That's all I'm saying. I don't know, but that's what they say. So that's what the New York Times said. Now, speaking of Fox News, I want to play something, right? And then I'm going to play something afterwards. And you're going to go, wow. So Donald Trump was in, where was it? Was it Pennsylvania? I think it was in Pennsylvania. And he was at a grocery store, right? And it was all like, oh my gosh, look. Oh my gosh, Donald Trump is at the grocery store. This family is paying for groceries. Here comes the savior, Donald Trump. Here's some money. Pay for your groceries. I'm just hanging out in a grocery store. Okay, that's what it is. And he's the benevolent Donald Trump steps in, the white knight, on a horse and helps his poor family, struggling family out. Okay, here's the actual supermarket thing. Watch.
Take the rest of it. Here, it's going to go down a little bit. It just went down $100.
Thank you so much.
We'll do that for you from the White House, all right?
Thank you.
All right, bye. Nice seeing you, everybody. Beautiful. They're your kids?
Yeah, they are. 3 boys.
Perfecto. Perfecto. 3 for 3. Bye, everybody.
So great, right? Organic. Donald Trump is in a grocery store. The family's in a grocery store. Cameras just happen to be at the grocery store. They just happen to go. Donald Trump is at a register buying things. I'm sure Donald Trump goes all the time to the grocery store, don't you think? Right? I mean, have I bumped into Donald Trump at a grocery store? I don't know. Maybe at the deli. Okay, busted. Didn't even realize it. This is a Fox News. The family comes on and they tell me they made it up. It was totally staged, the whole thing. Randomly throwing the $100 bill over there. Watch. I'm not
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, Jenny, tell us a little bit about that. So your cousin owns that store, and the Trump team called up and said, hey, we would like to have a family at the checkout. Is that right?
Yes.
And what else did they tell you?
Not much, other than we were hoping to have the opportunity to meet him, and the fact that he handed us $100 was a complete surprise.
What is wrong? Come on, people. Didn't he learn from the donut shop, J.D. Vance? I'll have some sprinkles in it. Come on. Oh, we're in the supermarket and here, blah, blah, blah. At least when Tim Walz does it, it's real. He's not handing out $100 bills to people. Maybe he's like, you know, talking to people, talking about their dog. No, that's all natural. If he's there and he's like talking about, you know, he's in the supermarket. I know, right? Laughing emoji, like fill the screen with laughing emojis because it's just embarrassing. It's really embarrassing if you have to set that up. My cousin owns this grocery store. They wanted a family at the counter. Set up okay, we got to set this up, make this up for the former president. It's a setup. It's a setup. You know, but honestly, at least, you guys are going to be surprised by this. At least during the J.D. Vance thing, it was set up, but they didn't, you know, prompt the people who worked there to react and a certain thing, and they didn't set that up. He just showed up, ordered it with the cameras. That happens, right? Look, even when Tim Walz is out there, it's not like they don't have advance warning that he's coming. Some of the customers may not know. But I think the businesses know. Sometimes they know. Sometimes they know. Sometimes they don't. All right. But at least it was a natural reaction. This was a total setup from start to finish. We know the grocery store owner. Then we're going to set up someone behind the register. As he's walking through, we're going to make sure that they're purchasing the groceries. And then he's going to like hand them some money. Here you go. Look how nice I am. That's going to take care and make that grocery bill a little bit lighter for you. Good to see you. I'll see you at the boating pool at the... Fake, 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 fake. Fake. Here's what's real. The twin girls ignored him. What do you guys think? Let me read this. I got to go because this is going by too fast. You guys said Terry Ming Nimi, thank you. You guys are really going along in this chat, and I can't really catch up. He probably never went to the grocery shop. No, he never went to the grocery shop, Ben Maddie. He's never gone there. No morals. He did the same crap at the grave sites as well, says Shimona Bendolf. That was a setup. That was a setup. And what can a family buy with $100 this day and time? Shaking my head, says Nicole. I don't know, but I'll take a free $100. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Thanks. Now I can buy that one shoe, says Clymer. Oh, my gosh. Vance said a 30-pack of eggs was a dozen eggs. Carter says, no. Prove it. Send me a link. I don't believe that. Now that grocery store is about to lose a lot of business, says Lisa Lipscomb. I hope not. Look, I don't have no ill will against that. But anyways, so there is a press conference. I don't know do we have the press conference that's coming up? Let me know if we have the press conference. There's a press conference that's about to happen with the mayor of New York City, or about the mayor of New York City. And so as soon as that happens, we're going to bring it to you. But producers, let me know if we have it. We may take it. If we can, we'll take a little bit of it. But we'll continue on until... Stop it, Don, says Dree. Oh, come on. It's the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth. So, look, they're setting up. Nothing is happening. And I promise you, I'll tell you. So I said that was fake. That's phony. That is fake, phony, fake, 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 fake. Like, you can't be organic about it. I can walk into a room of MAGA or Trump supporters. I'm not saying they're going to like me. Right? A lot of them will. Trust me, when I go out, you should see the MAGA people. I don't like you, whatever. I don't agree with anything you say, but I always liked you. I thought you, can I get a picture? Can I get a selfie? I'm telling you. I can walk into any room and I'll say, hey, you don't have to like me, but here I am. What do you want to know? Hey, good to see you. Who's that? Oh my God, how old is your kid? You have a dog? That's your dog? What's your dog's name? I have 3 dogs. Oh my God, they're a handful. You're getting ready in the morning and they look at you and you know they're saying, I got to poop, Dad, or whatever. And you got to take them out and you're late for work. You just, if you know how to relate to people, you don't have to be fake and phony and set shit up. Come on in. And you should see how people, like when I do man on the street interviews, how people react to me. It's because, honestly, I have a personality. I'm not fake and phony. And if you don't want to talk to me, okay, fine. I'll joke and say, all right, I know you don't want to talk to me, but hey, that's a nice shirt you're wearing. Where'd you get it? Pretty cool. All right, brother. See you later. You know what I'm saying? Not fake and phony. He's not. So this is real. This is real because you know Mark Cuban, right? You guys know Mark Cuban. He is an entrepreneur. He owns sports teams, and he's a just all-around good guy. He is on the side of Kamala Harris's, the Vice President Kamala Harris's. He's on her side as it relates to the economy. When he likes her, right? He's not a fan of Trump. So let's talk about that, because he's reacting to, I believe, the interview and to her economic plan. And he is a sensible, serious, actual billionaire.
What a lot of business people don't get, I look at the Harris campaign as a company and Kamala as the CEO, right? She's had, what, 45 days, 60 days to build an entire organization. And you look at the results. She went from negative favorability ratings. She went from recognition being relatively low. She went from being way behind in every single poll you looked at. And now look where she's at. Worst case, she's tied. In many cases, she's ahead. When you're able to turn around a battleship like a presidential campaign and go from being way behind to tied or ahead, you're doing a lot right. And on the flip side, if you had what seemed like an insurmountable lead, and now you've given up that entire lead to another CEO, you're getting fired. Right? So I think that's the beautiful part of looking at what she's doing. She's run her campaign like a CEO. She's had success. And when I go to talk to business people, that's what I tell them. She's actually running her organization like a CEO. And that's the evidence that you need to know that she'll be a great leader, that she understands business, that she understands organizations, and she'll be a friend and partner to business across the board.
Mark.
Okay, so Mark Cuban is right. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. I need to text Mark. I'm going to try to get him to come on. I would love to hear from him and speak to him personally. Here's the thing. Mark Cuban, you're 100% right. And I love that. He sparked something in me to realize, because we get so, Don got a cold. No, it's just like allergies. I do that. Like I ride my bike in and it's just like New York City and whatever. So I always have the sniffles. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you for being concerned. Actually, he sparked something in me. He elicited something in me, because he's right. She's acting like a CEO. She's managing her campaign, which is her company, right, in the best possible fashion. So all of this talk, like people who are so partisan and political, who are saying she needs to do this, she needs to do interviews, she needs to do this, she needs to conduct herself, she needs to answer all these questions. What she is doing is, from the folks who are inside, right, she has people, let's look at this as a business or a corporation or whatever. She has people helping her run the business, running the corporation. And then they are advising her on running the business and running the corporation. And they're saying, this is what you need to do. You need to be here. You need to be here. You need to do this. The media is, you don't need to focus and worry about them so much. Because the actual everyday American doesn't give a shit if you do interviews. They just want to know who you are. And so they can find out who you are through other ways than someone sitting down and trying to trip you up. That's what, so if I'm listening to Mark Cuban, he's right. Now, as a member of the press, I would like to hear her give more interviews, right? And just be, the dexterity of it, like Pete Buttigieg or the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Just boom. Give it to him. Hit him. Yes. Like, you want to see that. But not everybody does that, can handle interviews like that. That's not in everybody's temperament or nature to do that. Doesn't mean that they're not smart. It's just that, they're not interested, right? So I'm not saying she can't do it because she's a prosecutor. She's a prosecutor. She's used to asking questions. There's a whole different thing, asking questions than answering questions, especially if someone said people are trying to trip you up. So she's running it like a business. What are my board of directors saying? Who is my right-hand person, my second in command? Who am I going to hire for that? That's going to be Tim Walz. How am I going to pull together a coalition of shareholders to help me build this company, this corporation? And then I need a right-hand person. That's going to be Tim Walz. And I have all of my advisors around me, which is Brian Fallon, who is running the campaign. So I have all of these people around me, and then I'm going to listen to my advisors, but I'm going to go with my gut when I have to. That's what she's doing. whether you like it or not, whether people are goading her or not because the Republicans need a talking point and they need someplace to hit her. Okay, yes, she should be doing interviews, but they're going to use it, whatever. I was on a strategy call with Sean Spicer, who, you remember, he was a communications director, was also an advisor to Donald Trump before he became the communications director for the very first one. Remember, we had the largest crowd size in history. Okay. He's saying, yeah, we want her to be out in front of people because it gives us more content and more points to hit her on. He actually said that. I can't believe he said the quiet part out loud on the call, and no one really called him on it. And I was like listening to the call, riding the bike into here the other day, and I'm like, wait, what? He's saying it. So that's what they want. Does she need to give it to them? No. Does she need to answer more and have specific policy agenda? Yes, she does. Okay. So as we're awaiting this, I'm just looking to see what is going on. If it has been unsealed and the charges have not been made clear, the U.S. attorney I'm talking about, we're going back to the mayor now of New York City. The U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York, Damian Williams, is set to discuss the indictment at a news conference at 11:30. We're not going to be here that long, I don't think, maybe. And then federal charges of bribery, conspiracy, fraud, and soliciting illegal foreign campaign donations. That's according to the New York Times. Okay. So, Damian Williams, remember? That is the same dude from the Southern District of New York who indicted Diddy. Eric Adams, you in danger. Eric Adams is in danger. Wow. That's serious stuff. We have more with Mark Cuban, because Mark Cuban talked about, Vice President Kamala Harris, but he also talked about Donald Trump, comparing and contrasting the two, what you need to know. Okay? Here he is.
No one talking about Donald Trump says, boy, that really was a nuanced position. Boy, he really was able to show us a detailed policy depth on what he was talking about. It's the exact opposite. Whenever Donald Trump says something, everybody else has to explain for him what he said, right? He can't ever, it's never like, okay, I'll get to that. I didn't convey it right. I'll give you the details on why I said what I said. It's the opposite. It's all his acolytes, all his supporters saying, no, this is what he really meant. It's the opposite with Vice President Harris. When she says what she says, everybody knows what she means. That is such a stark difference between the two.
Yeah, and he's right. Everyone is looking for, well, what is she on this? Like, like they wanted her to do a white paper with like a PowerPoint presentation on blah, 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 blah. You guys, you saw Donald Trump at the World Economic Forum. You've heard him. You've heard him before. Word salad. Even during the debate, word salad. Even when he gives press conferences, word salad is never specific, or it's always something and people go, wait, what? And then other people have to explain, this is what he meant to say. Remember we had Whitley on, and she's like, well, this is what he meant by this, and you're like, this is what he meant? Everyone is always having to explain. And so they want her to be specific, but they want him to be, it's okay to have a concept of a plan, which he admitted. The rules are so different for, there are no rules when it comes to him, and she has to be very careful about that. Now, I want you guys to hear this. I played the grocery store stunt, and I should have ended on that, but anyways. This is CNBC talking about Trump's tariff plan. He doesn't understand what's going on because that's actually a tax on consumers, but he doesn't understand that. Here it is.
Okay, we know where she stands on tariffs. She wants to protect a few critical industries. We know where Donald Trump thinks about tariffs. $350 billion tax again to consumers, half a point hit to GDP, 700,000 jobs at risk. She is telling you, I do think it's important to pay attention to what she's saying. Today, we'll start to continue to codify that. And Andrew, through the campaign from here, you will continue to hear more. And I think she fully appreciates and looks forward to putting a lot more out there than the Republican platform, because she has a very growth-oriented but fiscally responsible perspective that does drive at helping the middle class, that does drive at helping an economic safety net for those who need it, but does it in a way that is paid for.
Okay, so there you go. And these are clear-headed people. These are business folks over on the CNBC. That you don't get more. That is down the middle. They have conservative folks over there who I see challenging Democrats all the time, challenging the vice president. And there are some folks who are liberal or whatever. But most of the folks there, it's just straight down the middle, straight down the middle. It's not like Fox Business News, right? Because they have a conservative bend and they tell you. And they're saying she's got a plan. And tariffs, Donald Trump doesn't understand. It is a tax on consumers. He doesn't get it. Okay? Total nightmare, says Ms. Honey. Yes, it is a total nightmare. Can you talk about Jack Smith and Donald Trump election fraud case, Michelle Miller? Yes, we'll talk about that. We'll get to that, but not right now. Trump doesn't know what tariff really means. Okay, yes. So here's the deal, just real quickly. I'm just going to circle back to this for a minute. As we understand, is a 57-page indictment. He has been indicted on federal charges of bribery, conspiracy, fraud, and soliciting illegal foreign campaign donations following a years-long investigation. He concealed his illegal activities, the indictment says, by deleting messages with others involved in the misconduct. In one instance, assuring a co-conspirator in writing that he always deleted her messages. Adams sought to hide the benefits he received, the indictment says, in part by paying a normal fee to create the appearance of having paid for travel that was, in fact, heavily discounted. And then it goes on to talk about the Turkey connection. There's some China and India, the Turkish Airlines flight. Oh boy, senior officials of the Turkish diplomatic establishment both facilitated illegal donations to Adams' campaign and bestowed gifts on him, the indictment says, including free, or discounted Turkish Airlines flights to France, Turkey, China, India, and Hungary. Adams also received what the indictment described as free rooms at opulent hotels, free meals at high-end restaurants, and free luxurious entertainment while in Turkey. The indictment accuses the mayor of accepting and seeking illegal campaign contributions to his 2021 mayoral campaign, as well as other things of value from foreign nationals. At just after 10:30 a.m. in Manhattan federal courtroom with less than a dozen people inside, Judge Catherine H. Parker assigned the case against Eric Adams, unsealing the indictment. So there you go. Okay, that press conference is supposed to happen at 11:30, but let's move on because I want to update. Can I update you on a few stories? You guys okay with that? Let's talk about, do you guys know who Chappell Roan is, right? Remember Song of the Summer, and I talked about it, H-O-T-T-O-G-O, Hot to Go. That is her song. And so I don't particularly care about the Chappell Roan, this public humiliation tour that she's doing. But I think it's important to point out, considering what happened with Taylor Swift, right? Taylor Swift has a huge fan base. She got hundreds of thousands of people, new voters, to sign up to vote, new people to sign up to vote, right? Chappell Roan is becoming one of the most successful and high-profile pop artists in the world. She had a huge summer. And so remember she said, I have problems with both sides, both political parties. There are issues, and I don't feel like that I have to put my support behind anyone. Okay. She said that. This is her TikTok.
Woke up and to like people just skewing it even more. Endorsing and voting are completely different. I don't agree with a lot of what is going on with like policies. Like obviously fuck the policies of the right, but also fuck some of the policies on the left. That's why I can't endorse. That's why I can't like put my entire name and my entire project behind one. Because there is no way I can stand behind some of the left's completely transphobic and completely genocidal views. So yeah, there are huge problems on both. You know what is right and wrong, and so do I. fuck Trump for fucking real, but fuck some of the shit that has gone down in the Democratic Party that has failed people like me and you. And more so, Palestine. And more so, every marginalized community in the world. So no, I'm not gonna settle for what the options that are in front of me. And you're not gonna make me feel bad for that. So yeah, I'm voting for fucking Kamala. But I'm not settling for what has been offered because that's questionable. It's questionable that our actions of our government, the actions of the internet, the actions of you and me. If this is what you are not understanding, you know what? Endorsing someone, if someone is publicly endorsing a political figure, that doesn't even mean that they're gonna fucking vote for them. Because as I said in my other video, actions speak louder than words. And I'm not gonna let this narrative of like me not playing both sides. No. This is not me playing both sides. This is me questioning both sides because this is what we have in front of us. So if you look at my statement and you're still like, she's just playing both sides, like she doesn't want to, no, you're not getting it. I'm critiquing both sides because they're both so fucked up.
Okay.
Voting is all we have right now in the system. And so I encourage it, yet again, vote for who in your mind is the best option for what we have right now.
Okay. That's enough.
Because it's all we can.
That's enough. Okay. Look. It's a young lady, obviously very young. All right, I'm just going to say it. Young, naive. So I don't want to just be too hard on her, okay? I don't want to just be so hard on her. Lana Nyla, LA, New York, LA, but it's Lani Nyla says, yes, so many people have no idea who she is. Who is she, says Crystal Carter, and who cares what she has to say? And what song are we talking about? Okay, so here's the thing. You guys don't know him because perhaps you were older, right? As I said, she's becoming quickly one of the biggest pop stars in the world. She had a huge summer. She's very influential among the young people, and as you can see on TikTok, has huge influence. And so this election is going to be won or lost on the margins. What does that mean? Every single voter counts. Every single demographic counts. And so she has huge influence, if you saw what happened, but she's also really ill-informed. She's also really ill-informed. So I'll just say, I don't particularly care about Chappell Roan's public humiliation tour right now. Maybe she needs to put down the TikTok. But what I will say that is it is very, very funny to encourage your fans to invest time in research, to interrogate the facts, as she said, that politicians present to you, to question everything, and then to go on and use this racist mispronunciation of the vice president's name, to call her Kamala. It's Kamala. She literally used right there Donald Trump's and Fox News's mispronunciation, Kamala. It's Kamala. And so that's why I encourage everyone to have their research. And if you have a platform, you need to at least know in this day and age, especially if you're on social media, because and digital media and on all these podcasts and streaming shows, there's no editorial rigor or standards. You can say anything. I can say anything I wanted here. It could be factual and not factual. And who's gonna fire me? Nobody. Who's gonna cancel me? No one. So she needs to know the truth. And when she says, she cares about Palestine, she cares about trans rights or whatever, then think about who's doing the best on Palestine? Who's the best on trans rights? We have two choices. Because as much as I love Dr. Cornel West, he doesn't stand a chance. And I love you. You know that, Cornel. Jill Stein doesn't stand a chance. They can only be spoilers. It's Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. That's it. Choose your partner, Punchinella, Punchinella. Choose your partner, Punchinella. It's you. That's all you got. Make the best of it. Okay, Don. Oh, let's go. Here we go. Eric Adams.
And we are not surprised. We expected this. This is not surprising to us at all. The actions that have unfolded over the last 10 months, the leaks, the commentary, the demonizing, this did not surprise us that we reached this day. And I ask New Yorkers to wait to hear our defense before making any judgments. In about 30 minutes, you're going to hear a story of the case that is in front of us. This story will come from the federal prosecutors. And I ask to wait and hear our side to this narrative. From here, my attorneys will take care of the case so I can take care of the city. My day-to-day will not change. I will continue to do the job for 8.3 million New Yorkers that I was elected to do. And the 300,000 plus employees of our city.
Are you ready to see your brand on TV? Your competitors will wish they had known about Vibe.
Did we get an ad?
People of the city, that anyone would say that they won't do their jobs while this case proceeds in the background. They are dedicated public servants, and I have been one of them for many years. And they're going to continue to do their job, moving the city forward every day. It's an unfortunate day, and it's a painful day. But inside of all of that, it's a day when we will finally reveal why for 10 months I have gone through this. And I look forward to defending myself and defending the people of this city as I've done throughout my entire professional career. I want to now turn it over to the person who started me on this journey, Reverend Herbert Daughtry.
Okay, so that is the mayor of New York City, surrounded by supporters. You can say, I mean, most of them African-American supporters. And the mayor says, look, we have expected this all along. We have known for years that this was coming. And he said, do not make your decision or judgment based on what the prosecutors are saying, what the indictment says. Wait for their defense. And he said, you're going to hear a bunch of stuff happening. He says in about 30 minutes. Really, it's about 10 or 15 minutes. And you're going to hear what they say, but wait, don't judge, basically saying innocent until proven guilty. I read off to you how many Democrats or whatever are being indicted and charged under the Biden administration's Merrick Garland, the Biden Justice Department, and now this happening in New York, okay? So this whole Kamala thing, we can take that off the screen. So again, the mayor's finished what he's had to say. Thank you very much. So we'll wait for the press conference, and we'll wait for the facts. You should always wait for the facts. I don't disagree with that. Someone says YouTube Premium. Yes, but I have YouTube Premium, and every once in a while something will slip through, especially I don't know what happened there. But anyways, so here's the thing. We were talking about the Southern District of New York, and I'm going to leave you with this. So Diddy is being indicted by the Southern District of New York as well, being charged by them as well, and the Homeland Security. And remember that whole report about, 1,000... Oh, by the way, Michael H., yes. Hey, Don, saw you on Brian Shapiro's Pushing the Limit show yesterday. Good show. Thank you. You guys check that show out, and we'll run some of it on our channel. I'm going to ask him if we can run some of it after he runs it for a while. We ask around here. Others do not. They just run our stuff. Okay. So his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, took some questions and addressed what Diddy's doing now and the whole baby oil thing. Here it is.
Since 8 o'clock this morning, and it's about almost 3 o'clock now. He's just laser focused. He's engaged. He's helpful. He's confident. You know, we're going through our defense as we do every day, and his spirits are relatively good.
How do you explain the baby oil and the lubricants? 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
I don't think it was 1,000. I think it was a lot. I mean, there's a Costco right down the street. You know, I think Americans buy in bulk, as we know. And, you know, this is consensual adults doing what consensual adults do. You know, we can't get so puritanical in this country to think that somehow sex is a bad thing, because if it was, there'd be no more people.
So there you go. That was on the New York Post. Consensual sex. He lives not far from Costco. People buy in bulk. That's good. Come on now, 1,000. That's a lot of baby oil. All right, everyone. So you're caught up. You got, let's see, we gave you all the information really that you need to know today. The Vice President, right, answering questions, right? She's going to be out on the campaign trail today. You have what is going on with the mayor in New York City. We gave you breaking news on that. We talked to you about what is going on about Mark Cuban and about Chappell Roan. I know a lot of you guys don't know you, but I'm just showing you things that you should know and people that you should know. And I don't want to, again, she's a young lady. I wish her well. I hope this doesn't cancel her. I don't think it will. But it's a good learning. Look, she's got to learn. She's got to grow. She's got to mature. And that's it. So you have it. Remember my challenge. Hit the thumbs up now. But also I challenge you to text that to 10 people. Text it to 10 people. It's like a chain letter. What happens if you don't text it to 10 people, then what's going to happen? Text 10 people. And I'll see you live at 5 o'clock today. Live at 5 o'clock today, I believe, who do we have? Simone Sanders? Simone Sanders, the famed political reporter and operative, and also worked in the Harris administration, so she knows a lot. Simone is going to join us later. 5 o'clock, live at 5, 2 o'clock on the East Coast. I'll see you. That's a lot of lube, says Tim K. I agree. Have a great day. Bye.